Hi everyone, this is Clayton from My Pet's Brace, here with Sam the dog and Jeremy the human. Jeremy's one of our technicians. Today I wanted to share a stifle or knee brace fitting video. We've changed some things over the past few years that we wanted to highlight and make sure that everybody knows how to put our braces on properly. You just got your brace, you're really excited to get your dog back to good shape, going on fun walks, going outside to play. But we got to remember that this is still a pretty severe orthopedic injury and the recovery is still a fairly long process. You could need to expect that 6 or 9 months of using the brace is what this is going to take. This doesn't mean that you can immediately go back to normal with what you do. So I like to recommend frequent short walks with the brace on, and anytime your dog is active, the brace should be on. But as far as walking on the leash, 10-15 minutes at a time, a few times a day is what we recommend. We want to minimize super long walks. If your dog gets super exhausted and is sleeping the rest of the day after a walk and then is super sore when they get up, that usually means you overdid it. So short, frequent walks with lots of rest in between is really ideal. Other than that, you want to be mindful of steps. We recognize that some people live in second floor apartments, townhouses, that you have to use steps to get in and out of your house. I can't tell you to carry your dog up and down. Sam is not a small dog. He probably weighs 70 pounds. That would be annoying after a while. So if you're minimizing the steps to just up and down when necessary, I can't expect much more than that. I often see people do something between laugh at their dog hysterically when they first put the brace on or start crying because their dog is having a hard time. It's okay if your dog struggles a little bit. This is a big thing to learn. They've never had anything like this on their body. Oftentimes a dog will knuckle when they first get their brace on, meaning their toes will stand on their toes. That's like if I put a heavy boot on your foot, you might stub your toe a few times. It's okay if they stub their toe a couple times. If you're walking on grass or the carpet in the house, they're not going to hurt themselves. They need to learn that they need to pick their foot up a little bit more. It takes a little bit different use of muscles to get them to clear the floor. If your dog knuckles once or twice in a walk down the hallway, that's okay. But if every step or every other step they're knuckling, you might need to loosen that suspension sleeve. On another note, if they're having a hard time figuring out where to put their feet, if they sit and have a little bit of a freak out, doesn't necessarily mean anything is wrong. A little bit of tough love might be necessary to encourage them to walk. Put them on a short leash, walk nice and slow. I don't want you to drag them around, but you got to teach them that the world doesn't end if they try and sit down. Again, I don't want you to be too worried about it, but be kind to your dog, but encourage them and teach them that this is okay and this isn't anything to be afraid of. So first, before we start, I want to show and kind of describe what all the straps are. Starting from the top, this is namely the top strap. On all knee braces, it's an elastic strap, so it stretches with the movement of your dog's thigh. Some braces have a back middle strap or a back elastic strap that goes along the calf. Your dogs might not. Your dogs might have one. We could explain why, but right now it's not important. We also have this front strap or front knee strap. That's the pad that's going to help keep your dog's tibia or your dog's shin from sliding too far forward. It sits below the knee. We also have this bottom strap and pad. This bottom pad is called the Achilles tendon pad, so we tend to call this the Achilles tendon strap. We're really creative here with our names. The most important piece of the whole brace, beyond the brace itself, is this piece that's the suspension sleeve. There's this pen mark T on the suspension sleeve where the brace lines up. There's a white marker, white paint pen line on your knee strap. Generally speaking, you shouldn't have to move the brace from that mark on the sleeve, nor should you have to move the strap that goes across your dog's shin, below your dog's knee. This is a suspension sleeve. This in particular is what we call the extended suspension sleeve, extended sleeve. It has 4 straps. The 2 upper straps are going to go above your dog's ankle or your dog's hock. The 2 lower straps are going to go below your dog's ankle or your dog's hock. On some dogs we have this style sleeve, so it helps hold a little bit better. If your dog's really active, we might give it to you. If your dog has sensitive skin, it might have an extended sleeve. If your dog has really straight ankles, like a lot of bulldogs, we might have this extended sleeve. We found that it works really, really well, so a lot of dogs have these now, and they work great. We're going to powder Sam's suspension sleeve before we put the brace on. This is baby powder and cornstarch. You can use baby powder and cornstarch like this. You can use regular cornstarch. You want to be very generous with the powder. I'm going to make a big mess on the floor. Make sure you get the straps as well and rub it in. There's no such thing as too much powder. So it's nice and gray, white, that tells you that there's enough powder. So now we're going to put the brace on Sam's leg. We're going to take the upper part of the brace and put it on his thigh. Sam is exceptionally strong, so his muscles are nice and big. It's easy to figure out where everything goes. So I'm going to put the brace up on his leg, and then if he's going to be cooperative here, I'm going to reach on the inside strap on the upper part of the suspension sleeve and bring that around just above his ankle bone, just above his hock. And that's going to help secure the brace. Then we're going to grab the strap that starts on the outside, and it's going to come around to the inside and kind of meet the one that we just did, or overlap a little bit. Depending on how much length there is, they might meet each other, they might overlap slightly, that's okay. Then we're going to do the lower two. Again, the inside goes around to the outside. The outside goes around to the inside. Generally speaking, I check my tension with a pinky finger between the straps and his leg. If I can't get a pinky in there comfortably, it might be too tight. Additionally, if it's too tight, he might drag his toes when he tries to walk. He didn't appreciate that too much. So we want the sleeve to be tight enough that it's not going to slip off the ankle, but not so tight to cause knuckling or dragging of his toes. A little bit of dragging at first might be okay. We're going to start next and do our bottom strap, or the Achilles tendon strap. This pad is going to end up behind the leg, right along the Achilles tendon. So I'm going to unhook the Velcro, and I might need to slide the pad a little bit. That sits right on that Achilles tendon. And then we're going to go through the buckle and around. It shouldn't be so tight that it squeezes that Achilles tendon. It should just kind of hold on. Again, I can get a finger in there without too much difficulty. At home, you might find a whiteout marker or a paint pen and mark it where so you know how to put it each time, which is what we do here at the office. Then we're going to go up a little bit. This is our elastic back strap. That's going to go around behind his leg and go through this buckle and back around. Again, it doesn't have to be super, super tight. It's just there. If this brace starts to lean forward, it's going to pull it back to keep it in the right spot. Then we're going to do our top elastic strap. We're going to go through the buckle and around. Again, our straps are all secured nicely. We've got a nice position on the leg, and that's how you put the brace on. We already kind of test fitted his brace, so I'm pretty confident in the way it fits, but the center of his knee is right where my thumb and finger is. That lines up with the hinge of the brace, the joint of the brace. So if you notice where your dog's knee is bending is not where the brace is lining up, it might be too high or too low, and we'll talk about how to address that here in a second. One thing you want to make sure you check is that the brace is not too tall on the inside of the thigh. There should be at least 2 fingers on the average dog. From my estimation, my fingers might be bigger than your fingers, but it should be comfortable for your dog to flex their hip, and the brace should not get pressed down too violently. It should stay comfortable there. Additionally, we want to look for about 2 fingers, give or take a little bit, from the bottom of the brace. So a question that people often ask me or ask us is how much gapping should there be along the front of the knee, or there's too much gapping, why is that, or is this enough gapping, is this not enough gapping? The strap that goes across the shin, across the top of the tibia, is there to prevent that shin from going too far forward. So there is going to be some gapping because that pad is contacting the leg before the brace would. So some gapping around the sides of the knee and below that pad is normal. You know, there's not a ton of gapping on Sam's brace, which is really great. But depending on the severity of your injury, we might make that a little bit tighter to really make sure that shin is not sliding forward. So if I move this strap, which we tell people not to, but if I move it and make it tighter, now, if we look again now, there's a lot more gapping. Now I can get my whole finger in the front of the brace. And there's gapping along the sides. I can get a finger along each side. We don't want it to look like that. You know, so we want to make sure that we either follow the mark that we made you and we back it up and bring it back to normal and mark it, pull it back up. That's going to create the right amount of gapping. If I take this all the way, you know, I'm kind of going to pull this back a little bit. You know, we're touching that muscle there. We're touching on the sides here, and then that pad goes in the way again, and that's going to help create the tension that we want. So if you make it too tight, it's going to create more gapping. If it's too loose, there really shouldn't be a whole lot of gapping. So that's kind of how we know if that knee strap is in the right spot. You just put your dog's brace on, and you might have noticed that they walked a little funny, they kicked their leg, they had a hard time figuring it out. You want to make sure that you give your dog time to physically get used to the brace as well as mentally understand why this brace is on. Sam can't talk, so I can't explain to him why he has this brace on. If I was making a brace for Jeremy, I could say, hey, this is for your knee injury. It's going to feel like this. If you feel this, that's not a big deal. But a dog doesn't have that understanding as much as we wish we could talk to them. So it's really important to start very slow with the brace break-in process. We recommend a maximum of 3 hours with the brace the first day, with increasing by 1 hour increments per day. That 3 hours does not have to be straight through. In fact, I might be annoyed with, if I was a dog, if I had to wear something for 3 hours straight, I would, make it a game, put it on, take it off, have every family member in the house that's able to put the brace on practice so that everybody knows how to put it on. Give your dog lots of praise, treats if they love treats, but make sure they don't get too many treats. We want to keep them nice and lean through this process, make sure they stay in shape. 3 hours to start with 1 hour increments, up to putting the brace on in the morning and taking it off at night if your dog is highly active. But if your dog is a little bit older, starting to slow down some, and they're sleeping most of the day when you're at work, you don't have to keep the brace on. And in fact, we discourage the brace to be used if your dog is confined to a small room or crated when no one's home. We don't want that brace to become a source of easy accessible chew toy when they get bored because you're not at home with them. So follow those restrictions and your dog should be okay. To take it off, I like to start from the top. We have our top elastic strap we've talked about a couple times. I like to reach my fingers toward the inside of his leg until I feel the end of that Velcro. It takes a little bit of feel. You can get a feel for how it is. Peel it back. It takes a little bit of effort there. We're going to then unhook it from the loop of the buckle and then fold the Velcro back on itself. Sam has short hair, so it's not a huge deal, but if you have a golden retriever or a Bernese mountain dog, a long-haired dog, you don't want to get that Velcro stuck in their hair as you're taking it off. So folding it out of the way helps make it easier on your dog and on you as you're taking it off. We're going to work our way down the back. We've got our back elastic strap. We're going to do the same thing, follow the strap to the inside of his leg, and I'm kind of pinching the strap with my fingers and then peeling it back and then pulling it back through the buckle and folding it out of the way. Then we're going to do our bottom Achilles tendon pad. Same thing, towards the inside of his leg is where that Velcro ends. Stay up, buddy. We're going to go unhook it and then fold it back on itself. So that gets the straps out of the way, but you can see the brace itself is still on his ankle or on his body because of our suspension sleeve. That suspension sleeve is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's not allowing the brace to fall off. So from here, sorry buddy, I start with my finger or my fingertip on this strap that's starting on the inside of the leg. I can either use my pinky or my fingertip to kind of push that Velcro, or pinch it with my finger and my thumb and unhook it. Same thing with the bottom. It's like peeling a pair of Velcro shoes off or peeling a banana, roll it back. Those don't really have anywhere to go but just get unhooked. Then same thing, we're going to do the lower two. The one that's on the inside of his leg currently, that goes around first. Then the last one goes off and the brace can come off. The brace itself is very easy to clean as well. The plastic, you can just use some disinfectant wipes. We use Simple Green degreaser in the back to wipe them down. Dish soap, hand soap is fine. A little bit of soap and water to clean the outside. Similarly with the foam will not hold water. So if it gets really wet because you've been or really dirty, from playing out in the yard with your dog, you can take the brace off and wipe the surface. Again, with a cloth or a sponge. We don't want to use anything abrasive that would scratch it, so stick to sponges or washcloths. No Brillo pads on the inside of the brace. You should have received a small wire brush with your brace. We want you to use that to keep the Velcro clean of hair, dust, baby powder that might get stuck in the Velcro hook portions of the brace. So in order to clean those straps, you might need to unfold them and use this wire brush. Brush in one direction, either across the narrow side of the strap or kind of work it one direction, long strokes against that Velcro. If you keep the hair clean out of that Velcro, it'll help the straps last a lot longer. You can use that Velcro in Sam's case on this bottom strap, this front strap, or the tabs on the suspension sleeve. It's a harder Velcro that can hold up to the stress of the brush, but on the ones that have elastic, this is a softer Velcro that might get weak if you use the wire brush. So just gently use your thumb to kind of pull that hair out safely so you don't wear out the Velcro. Again, if you need any replacement straps because they're too far gone, there's too many hairs stuck in them, just give us a call and we'd be happy to make some out and send them to you. Depending on if you're still in warranty, there might be small charges for those straps. One other spot you might want to use the wire bristle brush on is there's Velcro hook on the inside of the brace that attaches the suspension sleeve. So I know we tell you don't move the suspension sleeve from the brace, but on occasion you might get dirt and dust stuck in there. So I'm like, pull this out and then use my brush. Again, nice long strokes down to pull the hair out so that stays nice and clean. We want to make sure that Velcro attachment is nice and firm so that the brace does not slip off the suspension sleeve. I wanted to talk about how we know if the brace is in the right spot on the knee. For now, I'm going to remove the sleeve so I can fake it for you. So if the brace was down here, Sam's knee is way up here, so that would tell me I need to bring the brace up. If we were trying to fit it up here, for one, it would be too tall here. He couldn't be comfortable. But again, the brace itself is much too far above the knee. So if I bring the sleeve back into the equation, if we put this where it's marked, that should get it close. But if you call us and say, hey, it doesn't seem to be lining up right, I don't think it's in the right spot on his knee, we might say, move the brace up. So that would mean take the sleeve off and create some space between the mark and the brace. If we zoom in a little bit on that, there's now about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch of space. We might tell you about how much. That's going to bring the whole brace up higher, and I can show quick on Sam's leg. If we put this back in the right spot, now the brace is up a little bit higher on his knee. Maybe that would be a little bit better for him. Maybe that would be better for your dog. We would reevaluate as we work. We would do the opposite if we said the brace is too tall on his leg. If I go back to the mark that we started off at. We have the little T-shape. I might now hide the line so I'm still keeping the alignment. There's that little center line. It's still aligned, but now the brace itself is about 1/4 of an inch lower than it was before. And that's going to bring the center of the brace down. On some dogs, it needs to be moved up or down because it's a little different than what we thought it would be. So again, if you think it's not in the right spot, please send us some pictures, get on the phone, and we can help you figure it out. I want to thank everyone for watching the My Pets Brace knee brace fitting video. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns after watching this video. We want to make sure that your brace fits great so your pet can live a happier, healthy life.